Good afternoon, friends. Today I'm going to tell you about the movie Walled In. A little girl wakes up in a cramped concrete well from which there is no way out. She is frightened, screams, calls out for her daddy, and beats her hands on the walls. Cement mortar starts pouring out of the holes inside the well, flowing out of the holes inside the well. It slowly fills the space around the girl. The girl panics. She calls for help, but no one comes. 15 years later, Samantha Walczak, or simply Sam, is celebrating her 25th birthday. Around the table with her are colleagues, a loved one, and her father. Her father has a family business. They are blowing up houses destined for demolition. Samantha wants to follow in his footsteps. She's even graduated from college with a major. As a birthday present, her father offers her the job of demolishing buildings. It is her first big project. If she manages it, he will take her on as a partner in his firm. Samantha gladly agrees. A girl arrives in the middle of nowhere, where a huge concrete building, built years ago by a famous genius architect named Mallestrace, stands. Sam is struck by the unusualness of the building. In the lobby, Samantha is greeted by Mary, an enigmatic woman with an enigmatic look. She introduces Samantha to her son Jimmy, who always has a small dog by his side. Samantha decides to stay in the building while she works, since the nearest hotel is 70 miles away. Mary then asks her son to show Samantha her room. The boy explains to her the rules of conduct in the building. It is forbidden to smoke inside, it is forbidden to go up to the roof and to visit the 8th floor. In the room where Samantha was moved in, the belongings and furnishings of the previous tenants have been preserved. There are even framed photographs. Sam finds a picture on the bedside table of a girl, the same girl who was cemented in a concrete well 15 years ago. Samantha calls her young man, Peter. She tells him about the unusual building and then goes to take a bath. Sam hears the girl's voice. She calls her name. Frightened, Sam comes out of the bathroom, but she thinks she hears voices behind the wall. This makes her uneasy. Finally, she comes out of the bathroom and runs into Mary, who brings her dinner. The next day, Sam gets to work. She takes measurements, studies the blueprints, and discovers that one of the walls is not where the blueprints say it should be. While at work, Samantha meets an elderly neighbor. Apart from her and the dark-skinned tenant, there is no one in the house. Having finished her work, Sam breaks the rules. She goes up to the 8th floor and then to the roof, where she finds Jimmy's hideout. There she reads his diary, in which the boy describes how he follows Samantha. Sam goes to the store to buy groceries. She asks the salesgirl if the store has internet, and then asks permission to use it. The girl finds information on the internet about Mallestrace's house that reveals a terrible secret. Bodies were found embedded in the wall in his house. When this became known, the police arrived. They found Mallestrace dead. On her way home, Samantha meets Jimmy. She tells him what she has learned about the house, but he tells her that she doesn't really know much. Jimmy promises Sam to show Mallestrace's apartment tonight, and the girl agrees. Samantha keeps working. She draws a red cross on the wall in the hallway where the explosives will be planted. At that moment, a dark-skinned man runs up to her with an axe and hits the cross as hard as he can. An elderly neighbor comes out to the noise. She invites a frightened Sam into her room and tells her about Mallestrace. Samantha sees the architect's books in the woman's house and surreptitiously takes one of them to read. From the book, Samantha learns that in ancient Egypt, people walled themselves up in the pyramids, believing that in this way the building acquired a soul and became alive. That the energy of the people connects with the energy of the building. She realizes that this is what Mallestrace believed. At this time, Jimmy stops by Sam's house to take her to the architect's room. In between, he tells a story about a girl who had a dog. This girl was walled up in a wall, but a clever dog found her. At the same time, he found other dead people in the wall of Mallestrace's apartment. Among them was Jimmy's father. The dog, which once found the girl and other people, became Jimmy's friend and was with him everywhere. In the architect's apartment, Jimmy shows the places where people were walled up. He also shows Mallestrace's own face painted on one of the walls. When Samantha becomes uncomfortable, Jimmy's flashlight begins to go out and the guy himself disappears into the darkness. Sam gets out of the room, but falls and breaks his knee. Jimmy helps Samantha treat the wound. When the girl relaxes, he starts stroking the inside of her thigh, but the girl pulls away. The boy leaves and Samantha goes to the bathroom. She notices that one of the mirrors in the room begins to shake. She removes it from the nail, but instead of the nail, a hole appears in the wall. Blood oozes out of it. Strong arms burst out of the wall and pull Samantha inside. Sam wakes up in a concrete well that is slowly filling with cement mortar. She screams for help, but no one hears her. Samantha wakes up terrified in her bed. She walks around the apartment. On the wall in the living room she sees a red cross that she did not paint. From around the corner, her boyfriend jumps out with flowers. He decided to surprise his friend, but Samantha isn't in the mood for jokes right now. She thinks it was Mr. Barnett, the gloomy neighbor who tried to scare her in Malastraza's room and then drew a red cross. However, Barnett, a sick old man, is incapable of such madness. Sam and Peter decide to pay another visit to Malastra's room. This is where they find Mary. The woman stands next to the place where her husband and Jimmy's father were walled up. She talks to him, promising that it will all be over soon. Mary does not notice Samantha and Peter. When she finishes her monologue, she leaves, locking the two of them in the apartment. After wandering around the rooms, Peter and Sam start looking for a way out. They find a small hatch in the floor, and behind it, a narrow manhole and a ladder. Samantha doesn't want to wait for help and climbs down the ladder. Peter climbs after her. At one point, the girl sees a window in the wall that leads to Samantha's bathroom. She realizes that Jimmy knew about this window and has been peeking in on her. Peter and Sam go down to the very bottom. They find a door and find themselves in a new room. This is where Mary keeps the garbage. She is the one who opens the door so they can leave the room. After a conversation with Mary in which the woman talks about her husband and why she stayed here after his death, Sam and Peter return to the room. The young man suggests that Samantha leave, take a trip, and the girl agrees. They will leave tomorrow morning, but in the meantime they can enjoy each other in bed. Their conversation is overheard by Jimmy, and Samantha suspects that the guy is eavesdropping. In the morning, Peter and Sam find a dead dog. Someone has brutally killed it. Peter thinks it was Jimmy who finished off the dog. Samantha wants to leave, but first she goes to talk to Jimmy. He buries the dog not far from the house. When asked by Sam, he replies that he would never kill his four-legged friend. Sam, however, is not relieved. She prints out her conclusions about the house, puts them in an envelope, and prepares to send it to her father's company to send out the bombers. Jimmy comes in. He brings Malastraza's manuscripts, on which there is a discrepancy between the drawings and the actual position of the walls. There is a secret room inside the building that no one knows about. Samantha realizes that the entrance to it is from the trash room they were in recently. The girl goes there with Jimmy to find the entrance and discovers that it is walled up. Jimmy goes to the roof to find an opening for light and air. After a while, Samantha and Peter follow him. They find a hole in the floor and a tunnel leading somewhere down. From there, Jimmy's voice comes out. He screams that he broke his leg and asks to be pulled upstairs. Samantha decides to go down. Peter repels her down the rope almost to the bottom when someone shoots him. Peter releases the rope and Samantha falls. Sam wakes up. She is unclothed, and a stranger is sitting next to her in total darkness. He turns the kerosene lamp on and off. The stranger turns out to be Malastraz himself. He shows the girl a tape recorder with Jimmy's voice, and the boy is upstairs. He locks the girl up so that she will learn to love him as he loved her. In order to survive, Sam must follow all of his instructions, just as Malastraz does. The architect has been here for over 5,000 days. He has been here ever since human bodies were found in the walls. He originally hid here of his own free will, framing another man named Malastraz. But 3 weeks later, he discovered that the exit from the secret room was littered with stones. It was Mary's plan to get revenge on the architect for walling up her husband. While Samantha sits with Malastraza, Jimmy hands her calculations over to the engineers and drowns the car himself in the lake. When he returns, he makes Malastraz and Sam dance and kiss, and as a reward he gives them a basket of food and a radio with which Jimmy and Sam can talk to each other. As the rain begins to fall, Samantha bounces off the ground in terror from under the hole in the roof. The water washes over Peter's face. The tenants of the house move out, and the bombers arrive. They plant charges. Samantha tries to convince Jimmy over the radio that she's in love with him, that he should let her out. But the guy doesn't believe it. He tells her that the building is about to be blown up. Upon hearing this, Malastraz begins preparations. He digs a grave in the center of the room, presses a hidden button, forces Samantha to kill him, and falls inside. He is slowly flooded with cement mortar. Jimmy doubts that he did the right thing. His mother has learned of her son's action and forbids him to say anything to the bombers. She intends to bury Malastraz under the ruins of the building, but she does not yet know that he has buried himself. At the last moment, Jimmy can't stand it and stops the bomber squad. He runs inside and sees Samantha lying unconscious next to Molly Strauss's grave. At this point, Samantha's friends and her father arrive. Desperate, the boy jumps down and falls next to the girl. Samantha is taken out of hiding and taken away in an ambulance. Mary is arrested, and Molly Strauss's house stands untouched to this day, just as he wanted it to. Thanks for watching. Sign up and like it if you want more of these reviews.